$35,000 for a Jayco with an imported chassis, imported appliances, and a warranty that runs out long before the real problems start. Meanwhile, 3 small manufacturers are still building complete travel trailers on American soil, using American materials, and most campers have never heard of any of them because none of the 3 has ever bought a Super Bowl ad or a dealership end cap. This video names all 3, and Jayco is not one of them. Jayco has been around since 1968, founded in Indiana, and it is genuinely one of the great American recreation stories. The J-Flight you see at your local dealership really is put together in Middlebury, Indiana, and that part deserves credit. But the chassis holding that entire trailer together comes from Lippert, with steel and bracket components sourced globally. The appliances inside are imported from overseas. Once you look past final assembly, the supply chain behind almost every major RV brand runs heavily through China and Mexico, and Jayco is no exception. It also helps to know who actually owns Jayco today. The Bontrager family sold the company to Thor Industries back in 2016, and Thor is a publicly traded corporation answering to shareholders, not to a founding family sitting in an office in Indiana. The Jayco name stayed the same. The decision makers behind it did not. This is exactly why big RV brands cannot legally stamp their trailers made in the USA. Federal Trade Commission rules require a product to be all or virtually all domestic content before that label is allowed. So instead, companies lean on marketing that sounds the same without saying it. Proudly assembled in Indiana, American-owned since 1968, giant flag decals across the fiberglass, you will sometimes see the honest version buried in fine print, something like assembled in the USA from domestic and imported parts, which is the legal way of admitting exactly what we just covered. Your brain hears American-made, but nobody actually said it, because nobody legally can. An American brand and an American-built machine are 2 completely different things, and no salesperson on that dealership floor is going to explain the difference before you sign for $35,000. Now here are the 3 that actually earn the label because they build the whole trailer, start to finish, right here at home. The first is the trailer serious boondockers buy once they are done replacing rotted trailers every few years. Oliver Travel Trailers started in 2008 in Hohenwald, Tennessee, built by a family frustrated with traditional trailers that soaked up water and fell apart within a few seasons. Their answer was a double-shelled molded fiberglass design with no wood framing to rot and no seams for water to find. The entire Legacy Elite line is built in Tennessee from the ground up. Instead of buying cheap steel frames from an outside supplier, Oliver welds its own heavy-duty aluminum frames in-house. The plumbing, wiring, and holding tanks are routed between the 2 fiberglass shells, so the core structure stays insulated and protected instead of exposed underneath like most trailers on the lot. You will not find an Oliver at a big national dealer chain because they sell direct to the customer. No middleman marking up the price. If you only camp at a state park twice a summer, this is more trailer than you need. But if you want a machine built to run in every season and you are done with the replacement cycle, Oliver is where serious owners land. Nearly 20 years building in Tennessee, and the people who own one rarely argue about the price. They just explain why it was worth it. If you have ever bought something with an American flag slapped on the side and found out later it was not quite what you thought, hit subscribe right now because this channel exists to show you exactly which brands are the real thing and which ones are just wearing the label. The second brand changes the entire conversation because this one is not fiberglass at all. It is aircraft-grade aluminum, hand riveted the same way an airplane fuselage goes together. Most trailers marketed as luxury are still built on heavy steel frames with laminated wood sidewalls that rot the moment water finds a seam. Bolus starts with raw sheets of aerospace-grade aluminum instead, and everyone is built by hand in a single California town most of the country has never heard of. That town is Oxnard, California, and the design behind these trailers has been rolling down American highways for nearly a century. Bolus traces back to 1934 when an aircraft builder named Hawley Bolus used his aviation background to design the first ultra-lightweight aerodynamic aluminum travel trailer in the country. That original design was so far ahead of its time that it directly inspired the first aluminum Airstreams that came after it. Today, the modern company operates out of its own facility in Oxnard, keeping that same aircraft heritage alive in every unit it builds. Every bolus starts as a T3 aluminum outer skin over a welded aluminum space frame, riveted together by hand exactly the way a small aircraft is assembled. The interior work, from the birchwood paneling to the custom electrical systems, is finished on site rather than outsourced. Because the trailer never relies on a heavy outsourced steel chassis, it stays light enough to be towed by a mid-size crossover or even an electric vehicle, something almost no other luxury trailer can claim. These are expensive, with entry-level models priced well into six figures, and they are not built for casual weekend trips. They are built for weeks off the grid, running on large lithium battery banks and integrated solar power. Production stays deliberately small, with each trailer taking months to complete by hand rather than rolling off a mass assembly line, which is part of why waiting lists are common. It remains a small, privately held operation, answering only to buyers who want the most capable aerodynamic trailer money can build, not to a board of shareholders. The third brand is the one that proves you do not need six figures to own something genuinely American-built. Casita Travel Trailers has been building in Rice, Texas since 1983, and most drivers have passed dozens of them on the highway without realizing what makes them different. Every single Casita is molded and finished at that one Texas facility. Nothing about the shape has changed much in over 40 years because the two-piece molded fiberglass shell design already solved the problem it was built to solve. Casita has always had one disadvantage. It looks plain sitting next to a massive fifth wheel with slide-outs and flashy graphics at the campground. Buyers walk right past the small, rounded white shell because nothing about the outside says luxury. But that plain shell is sealed together like the hull of a boat, top and bottom fused into one piece with no seam running across the roof or down the walls. That single detail is why Casita owners almost never deal with the roof leaks that eventually ruin traditional wood frame trailers. Inside, the flooring is fully encased composite instead of plywood, so there is no wood underneath to rot, even if water ever does get in. Used Casitas hold their value remarkably well for exactly this reason, because buyers know what they are getting even a decade later. Some smaller components, like certain appliances, are sourced globally, the same as almost every vehicle built anywhere in the world today. But the shell, the structure, and the manufacturing itself have stayed entirely Texan for over 4 decades. If you want an honestly priced, leak-proof trailer that will likely outlast the truck pulling it, Casita has quietly been the answer the whole time. Nearly every single trailer on a dealer lot today uses the word American somewhere in its marketing. Heritage, legacy, proudly assembled, family-owned since some year decades ago. None of that is necessarily a lie, but there is a real difference between a company that is American and a trailer that starts as raw material in an American town and rolls out the door as a finished product built by the people who live in that town. Tennessee, California, and Texas are where that distinction still holds up under a real inspection. Oliver for a lifetime of serious four-season use. Bolus for serious aerospace-level engineering and true off-grid capability. Casita for an honest, truly affordable trailer that will not let you down. Jayco builds a fine trailer for what it is and deserves credit for keeping final assembly in Indiana. But a fine trailer and a truly American-built trailer are not the same claim, and now you know exactly how to tell them apart before you ever sign a purchase agreement. Drop a comment with the brand sitting in your driveway right now and be honest. Did you actually check where it was built before you signed, or did the flag decal do all the talking?